In today's video, we're going to talk about the extreme importance of evaluating your music and understanding from the business world why that is so important in order to improve and actually do good music and get to a professional level. Hey guys, Sunil Saxena with Insanely Awesome Musician, where everything we do is dedicated to making you insanely awesome. So today we're going to talk about a simple concept. As a lot of you know, I come from a business background, and I have a daughter who's 14 and she's doing music, so I'm really trying to help aspiring musicians become better and trying to bring all the 20 plus years of business background I have to the music world, specifically aspiring musicians. So the concept today is just understanding why it's so important to get your music evaluated. Again, whether you're a singer, songwriter, whatever you are, evaluation is so important. And I have another great video coming up of specifically how to evaluate your music. But today we're going to talk about the importance of it. So again, in the business world, it's a very simple loop. If you want to be successful, it's do something. In this case, we're going to call it your music. Have it evaluated by, again, a group of people, whatever, we're going to talk more details about that, but have it evaluated and then act upon that evaluation and then redo the initial product. And it's just a circle. So that's all you do is you do something, you have it evaluated, you figure out the evaluation, you implement it, and then you go back and do that again until you achieve the type of success that you want. So again, it's such a simple concept, but nobody really does it systematically. Another great example of this from the business world is a company called Starbucks. I think you may have heard of them. If you haven't, then well, you probably need to stop watching this video and go do something else. But anyways, Starbucks was formed by Howard Schultz, and he basically went on a trip to Italy and had such a great time with all these cafes. There were waiters and bow ties serving coffee and pastries and things like that. And he just, at that time, if anybody remembers before Starbucks, we had really bad coffee in this country. You just couldn't even find a good cup of coffee. It was so difficult. So he was coming from that mind frame, went over there, saw this just incredible stuff they have and how busy these places were and how people loved them and how they kind of almost became like the center of activity and where people would hang out. And he said, I got to bring this back to the United States. So he did, went back to Seattle, opened up, as close as he could to an Italian cafe. And of course it didn't work. Like nobody did it. He had waiters running around. They were serving, the traditional Italian type of outfits. So just kept, making changes, getting feedback, making changes, getting feedback, just continuously did this for years. And of course now developed a company called Starbucks, where he's taken, again, the essence of great coffee and this kind of community coffee shop environment and molded it to American tastes and kind of, international taste now, because, well, American taste kind of become international taste, but, something that would work. So, again, a great example of kind of flying or doing this loop of continuously doing something, getting some evaluation, figuring that out, changing things, acting upon it, and then just going back and doing that again. So again, I just want to express to you that this is so important. And, one of the issues that I find in the music business is that music is subjective. So, again, if you look at sports, I have a son who actually plays golf, and in golf, it's very easy. It's like if you shoot, if I shoot a 67, you shoot a 68, I'm a better golfer than you. And again, for those of you who don't know, in golf, lower scores are better. It's just in case I confuse anybody. But it's very easy to understand. And that day I was a better golfer than you. There's no question. You can talk all you want, but I shot a better score than you. And of course, that's how tournaments are decided, and that's how champions are decided, etc. The issue is when you talk about something artistic like music, you can't necessarily say one song is better than the other, right? Is a Rolling Stones song or a Beatles song better? I mean, you're going to get 50-50 on that. So what I want you to understand, this is what makes evaluation kind of difficult in the music world, and we're going to get into this in some other videos in more detail. But I want you to understand that concept. And what I'm trying to tell you is that, again, going to the sports analogy, there's kind of a high school level athlete, there's a college level athlete, and there's a professional level athlete, obviously. So there you can say there's definitely some distinct levels. So that's the same thing in music, is that you could be operating at a high school level thinking you're a professional. You can be operating at a college level thinking you're professional, but when you get some evaluations, when you get some feedback, you're going to understand whether you really are a professional or not. Now, again, in sports, you could take two professional football players, for example, and you could argue who's better. Now, that again could be a very similar to music. It's debatable, but they're both professionals and they've kind of gotten to that level. So that's what I'm really looking for you to do. I'm not trying to tell you that your music has to be exactly like this to be good or bad. It's just make sure if you really want to do this, that you're putting out professional level music. And again, even that, to understand what that means, that's also another kind of video series. But if the worst thing you can do is be operating at a lower level and then wondering why you're not having success. And then now the other point I want to make about evaluations, again, is something creative. Anything that's kind of creative, again, in sports, things like figure skating. There's no exact way to know who's a better figure skater. It's kind of, a lot of judgmental, there's judges and things that you have to kind of evaluate. So similar, I think, music and art is even more that way. So one of the things I want to caution you about, I think a great way to get your music evaluated is by professional song evaluators, even by a group of evaluators, things like that. But please also understand that there's so many songs, so many artists who have been told they are quote unquote bad by a industry person who knows what they're talking about, and yet they become incredibly successful. I think The Royals is a great song by Lorde, who didn't really have a lot of positive talk by the industry insiders, but obviously became a #1 hit and was just an incredible song, kind of launched her career. So I guess my point I'm trying to make to you is that certainly get this evaluation, get this feedback, but understand when you live in a subjective world, it's really not, is this song good or bad? It's like, are you operating at a professional level, a college level, or a high school level? And if you're operating at anything but a professional level, keep working on your skills, work on your skills, work on your skills until at least you're operating that professional kind of arena. Then as an artist, you can take some license to kind of do different things and be creative. So it's so important to understand that. And another kind of very important point about evaluation I want to make is that it's often very important to have the evaluations done by people who are the direct consumers of that product or service. Again, we're going back to the business terms here, is that, again, when Howard Schultz started Starbucks, he wasn't bringing in restaurant industry people and all these kind of people. In fact, those are the people who told him he was stupid and this would never work, but real people who are going to be his real customer. So at some point, you can't just be talking to industry professionals. I mean, they're very important. Again, I'm not trying to say don't do that, but you have to get, people who are going to be your direct consumer. Interesting, I was watching the show. I'm a golf guy. My son's a golfer, so there's a show on Golf Channel called Driver versus Driver, and they'd kind of gotten down to the final, I think 2, but maybe it might have been 2 or 3. And they built their driver, and they had different people from the industry come in and evaluate them. I think they were like sales rep for huge golf retailers, some people from the PGA, et cetera, et cetera. And while they were giving their opinion, I've seen those type of people be wrong so many times. What you need to do is take your driver out to a golf course where they're just average golfers who are going to be using that. Those are the people who are going to be buying your driver, not these people who work for the PGA. And sometimes they get very overly technical and they look at it a certain way and they do all these kind of evaluations that kind of lead you down a complete, wrong path. So again, try to get regular people who are going to be consuming your music. Those are who you need to have evaluations from. Go to open mics and sing your music for regular people and see what kind of reaction you get. Talk to just regular consumers of music, So again, what I'm trying to say is that it is important to have those industry people because they can often give you that kind of the technical side of it. Again, it's kind of like, like films and movies, for example. If someone who's kind of a movie maker or in the business evaluates a film, they're going to give you a completely different type of evaluation because they're looking at it a way that that a normal person who goes to the movies will never look at it that way. So my point is they're both very, very important, but don't just take one or the other. Do both. And don't underestimate the consumer, the person who's going to be buying. If I had a disagreement between an industry person and the consumer who's going to buy my product, I'm going to go with the consumer because they're the ones who are going to buy the product, assuming we're very confident in both opinions. So Again, I hope this was very helpful. I want you to just get into the mindset of understanding you'll always need your products and services evaluated. Any good business will tell you that. And again, understand you're in the music business. If you think this is not a business, then you're wrong, and most likely you'll never be successful here. So, I'm not trying to tell you to get rid of your artisticness. That's what makes you an artist. That's what makes you great. But try to get some of these business principles in there, because if you don't, you're going to flounder a lot. I mean, I literally know so many musicians who are very, very good musicians, but their songs are awful, and they just don't take the time to get the feedback. They're just like, well, I'm going to make my music, I'm going to put it out in the world, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And if that's you and that's your mentality, well, most likely we're never going to hear your name. So, be artistic, be a musician, be an artist, but also take the time to be a little analytical about this and get the evaluation. So again, I hope this video was helpful. This is all we do here at Insanely Awesome Musician, is just put out content to help you become, as we say, insanely awesome, but successful in this business. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel, subscribe down below. I love feedback. Just like I'm telling you to get feedback, please give me feedback on this video. Anything you'd like to discuss, whether it's content or the type of video. I love to hear topics, things you're struggling with, so we can address them. We have a podcast coming out in 2017, and we're going to be getting industry professionals to talk to you. It's just going to be incredible, the amount of content and the quality of content we put out there. So until next time, we'll see you later, and please subscribe to our channel.